Are you looking for the best soundbars? In this video we will look at some of the 6 best soundbars on the market. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description. So make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting at number 1. Sonos Beam Gen 2 Soundbar. The second generation version of the Sonos Beam is a lot like the first model. The compact mid-range speaker still sounds great, but it now has a more stylish plastic grille design that brings it in line with the larger, more premium Sonos Arc, as well as bringing onboard Dolby Atmos virtualization and HDMI ARC support. The Beam soundbar is as sonically impressive as it's always been. It's powered by 4 front-facing elliptical mid-woofers, an improved tweeter in the center and 3 passive radiators for the lower, deeper frequencies, all backed up by 5 amplifiers. What you get is an extraordinarily wide soundstage that feels noticeably expansive. Although there aren't any up-firing speakers to give significant height to the Atmos mix, the virtualization still adds a tangible 3-dimensional element to films and music. There's more depth than the second-gen Beam, so, while it can't compete with the Arc, it's still a brilliant little soundbar. Add in the fact it's a Sonos product with True Play, it has compatibility with all the major music streaming platforms, including high-fidelity tiers, and that it features Alexa and Google Assistant support, we can't really complain. Dimensions: 65.1 cm x 6.85 cm x 10 cm. Speaker configuration: 5.0. Connections: optical, HDMI ARC/eARC, Ethernet, Wi-Fi, AirPlay 2. Sound formats: Dolby Digital, Dolby Digital Plus, Dolby Atmos, Dolby True HD, DTS. Voice assistant: Alexa and Google Assistant. Separate subwoofer included, not included, sold separately. Wide soundstage. Great level of 3D virtualization. Number 2. Polk Audio React Soundbar. If you thought you needed to pay out the wazoo for a half-decent soundbar, think again. Polk has designed the perfect entry-level model for those who don't have a grand lying around to spend on the Sennheiser or BNO options. It looks surprisingly sleek for its small price tag, completely covered in fabric and with an echo speaker plunked in the middle. It literally works like an Alexa smart speaker, meaning you can connect it with your other Amazon Echo speakers for a true multi-room experience. It was also pretty good at picking up the sound of our voice from a fair distance away, thanks to its 4 far-field microphones. Although there's, understandably, no Dolby Atmos support, audio on the React is still of a commendable performance for those simply wanting to upgrade their TV's speaker setup. It doesn't really go beyond the boundaries of its miniature dimensions, but the sound you do get is clear, precise and sharp, with no real distortion when there are significantly low or high frequencies blaring out. The audio presets on the remote can help on occasion, and dialogue can be boosted by the voice adjust function if needed. Best entry-level soundbar. Dimensions: 86.4 cm x 5.7 cm x 12.1 cm. Speaker configuration: 2.0. Connections: optical, HDMI ARC, Bluetooth, USB, Wi-Fi. Sound formats: Dolby Digital, DTS. Voice assistant, built-in Alexa. Separate subwoofer included, no, sold separately. Works like an Alexa smart speaker. No sound distortion at loud volumes. Nice preset options. Number 3. Sennheiser AMBIO Soundbar. 5 years after its release, the Sennheiser AMBIO soundbar still reigns supreme as one of the beefiest, best-sounding all-in-one soundbars around, and still takes the top spot as the most expensive soundbar we've ever tested. Famous for its headphones, the AMBIO remains the only speaker that Sennheiser has made, and it delivers an exceptional home audio system experience from one, very hefty, box. It's big, but there's a reason why. Unlike more compact soundbars, which pack in smaller drivers, the AMBIO accommodates 6 10cm woofers, 5 25mm tweeters and 2 9cm upward-firing full-range drivers. Those are big, and without them you wouldn't be getting such unrivaled, room-filling sound. There is scale, depth and height when watching a Dolby Atmos film, with dialogue coming across clearly while being precisely centralized. As cars zoom across the screen and the blades of a helicopter swirl towards the ceiling, you're brought along on the journey. It's all recreated beautifully by the up-firing speakers. The sound doesn't just beam outward to the side and upwards but flits seamlessly across the room. It's an incredibly cinematic experience for a one-box package. Everything can be controlled from the remote, and there is an abundance of features, from nifty sound profiles like movie mode and night mode to an endless series of connections and Chromecast support. The downside? You'll need some deep pockets for this soundbar, but if you have them, it's totally worth it. Number 4. Panasonic SC-HTB01 SoundSlayer Gaming Speaker. This tiny soundbar from Panasonic doesn't look like much with its cloth-covered exterior and miniature size, but it's a surround sound powerhouse when it comes to desktop gaming, slotting neatly underneath any monitor. Inside, you'll find 2 full-range drivers and 2 tweeters. It's a nifty 2.1 soundbar that does well at filling a room during intense gaming sessions, with orchestral game soundtracks and rippling bullets sounding epic in full. The SoundSlayer has been designed in collaboration with Final Fantasy XIV sound engineers, who lent a helping hand with the 3 gaming sound profiles, RPGs, shooters, and enhanced dialogue. If you're not using one of the gaming presets, there are also the cinema, music, and standard sound profiles for when you're listening to your favorite tunes or watching a spot of Netflix. While there isn't any Alexa or Google Assistant integration, you can still connect your phone to the soundbar using Bluetooth if you want to play your music through it. Dimensions: 43.1 cm x 5.2 cm x 13.2 cm. Speaker configuration: 2.1. Connections: optical, HDMI input, HDMI ARC, 4K HDMI pass-through, Bluetooth, USB, for firmware updates. Sound formats: Dolby Atmos, DTS-X, DTS Virtual X. Separate subwoofer included, no support. Nifty sound profiles for different game genres. Slots nicely under a monitor. Number 5. Denon Home 550 Compact Soundbar for TV. This soundbar from Denon might look cute and small, but it sure sounds mighty, and it is also packed with features. There's built-in Alexa integration, so you can ask it the weather, set reminders, and turn up the volume just with the power of your voice, as well as support for HEOS, Denon's own proprietary music streaming system. If you're already firmly integrated into the Denon HEOS ecosystem, and have other Denon speakers dotted around your house, you will be able to connect them all up together and play audio in multiple rooms. While the 550 does come with an IR remote, you can control it from the touchscreen on the bar itself if you lose it behind the couch, and you will need to connect to HEOS via the rear of the soundbar on setup. The HEOS app also lets you switch between differing Dolby Atmos modes. Inside are 2 tweeters, 4 full-range speakers and 3 passive radiators. It's not the loudest of soundbars, but the audio is rich and clear, with no distortion or muzzling of those low frequencies. Plus the high and mid frequencies sound full, making it ideal for films and prestige television. You get a range of different presets, including movies, music and pure, with buttons for increasing and decreasing bass and treble. While the sound won't get very deep, you won't feel yourself shaking in your seat, for example, we still appreciate how balanced and neutral it is. Number 6. Sonos Ray Soundbar. We can wax lyrical about the Sonos Beam Gen 2 and the beefy Sonos Arc, but they're both luxury products. In 2022, Sonos launched an entry-level soundbar called the Sonos Ray, and it's a really great little soundbar if you're just getting into the game. You've got an Ethernet port, an optical port and a power outlet on the rear. While all Sonos soundbars are a doddle to set up, the lack of HDMI compatibility, present on the rest of the Sonos soundbar family, makes the Sonos Ray more of a hassle than most. Because it has to be connected via an optical cable, we couldn't control the volume using our Samsung Smart Remote. The other issue with the optical connection is that you're limited to stereo PCM, Dolby Digital, and DTS sound formats, rather than the more cinematic-sounding Dolby Atmos. But it doesn't matter too much when you're actually watching a film, sports, or listening to music, it all sounds brilliant. The Ray boosted the clarity of people's speech in films with poor sound mixing, making it easier to understand conversations. This was far better than the speech clarity on our TV speakers. Bass wasn't as heart-thumping as we'd liked, but it handled music really well. A nice starter Sonos soundbar if you want to get into Sonos's burgeoning ecosystem.